you, Sally, for your very gracious introduction, Your Eminence. It's always an honor to be in your company. And I am always pleased to see my counterpart in the House of Representatives, the Chairman of the House International Foreign. Okay, when I was there it was international. Now I like that it's foreign affairs, the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Congressman Royce, who has we have a long history together from our time on the committee, so I appreciate his leadership as well. And I welcome all of you. You know, we commemorate the 98th anniversary of one of the darkest moments in human history, and we will not, and we cannot forget. Today we keep the faith with all those who stand up to injustice everywhere. We remember the victims, not only honoring those who lost their lives, but in recognition of how they died and how history remembers their death. To me, genocide is genocide. And so I continue to support a resolution to recognize the Armenian genocide and to use the lessons of history, which clearly was an atrocity of historic proportions, to prevent future crimes against humanity. 98 years is enough. The time has come for the United States to join the European nation and 19 other countries that have formally recognized the actions carried out by the Ottoman Empire from 1915 to 1923 as, in fact, genocide as defined in Article 2 of the Genocide Convention, which says that acts committed with the intent to destroy in whole or part a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group is genocide. During that time, nearly 2 million Armenians were deported, 1.5 million were killed. Only by calling it what it is can we truly close this darker chapter in human history and rightfully honor its victims. In my view, we must not make it the policy of the United States to turn our back on man's inhumanity to man. We cannot turn our backs on the victim, not in Armenia in 1915, not in genocide anywhere that it occurs. Any nuanced approach serves only to empower those around the world who would use genocide as a weapon of war. So let's be perfectly clear. There is no other word for it. There is no euphemism. There is no avoiding it. There are no excuses. As part of this commemoration, we must fully commit ourselves to acknowledging the fundamental truth that what happened from 1915 to 1923 was by definition and by all that is human, a blatant act of genocide, an acknowledgement that must come from Turkey, and it must come from our own government. Our State Department should not be constrained in acknowledging the clear and specific historical record that was developed by its own predecessors. As I have said before, despite whatever geopolitical pressures may ask to bend us like a willow in the breeze, let us be like an oak, tall and strong and firmly rooted in a history that cannot be denied. And in addition to securing greater global recognition of the terrible events 98 years ago, we look forward to a day when we can be assured that the Armenian homeland will survive, that it will culturally thrive as an independent state in a neighborhood of dangerous players, and that will enjoy the fruits of peace and prosperity. So hopefully, as the centennial of the 1915 genocide approaches, the Turks will begin to recognize that it is in their own interest to ratify the protocols, to establish diplomatic relations. And when we convene here 2 years from now, let us hope that is the case. Let us hope that the Armenian genocide will become an irrefutable fact of history, accepted by all, denied by none. What we all can do now, however, is what we are doing today, publicly commemorating the true history of the Armenian people. What we must do is never forget the horrors of genocide. I am always reminded on this occasion what Adolf Hitler once cynically asked when he said, "Who today remembers the Armenians?"
History has written that answer in the hearts of all good people everywhere. It is clearer than it has ever been. We remember the Armenians. The world remembers 98 years later. The children, the grandchildren, and the great-grandchildren of the survivors and of those who perished remember. Here in the halls of Congress, around the world, people of goodwill everywhere remember. And as the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, I remember, and I will not let anyone forget. Thank you very much.